Hi, and welcome to the R2RB Women Entrepreneur Spotlight. And today I have Julia and Tara from Tried and True Just for You. Julia and Tara live and have their business right here in Delaware, and I'm very excited to have them here today, sharing hand-picked vintage and antique treasures that stand the test of time. Each piece is tried and true just for you. Hi, Julia and Tara, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for having us, Deb.
You are so welcome. All right, so I'd like to ask two questions to get us started. Where is one place that you have never been that you would like to visit and why?
Italy would be my first choice. I know Julia's already been to Italy, but I have, my family roots are there and I would love to visit and just visit the history, the art, just everything, the food, everything about Italy is appealing to me. So that would be my top choice.
Nice. And Julia?
Paris, I think,
Mhm.
because I've never been. And I've been to other European countries, but not France. And so Paris is definitely high on my list.
Nice. I would like to join on both of those trips when you go.
Absolutely.
All right. So, who are you when you are not running your business?
I am a high school principal. I am a mom. I am a wife. I am a dog owner. I don't always manage all of those things well, but I try. Lots of balls to juggle, but yeah, that's who I am when I'm not a business owner.
Okay.
I feel like I'm a business owner all the time. I'm also a mom, a wife, a dog owner, and a soon to be ex-federal employee. This will become the full-time job for me. My last day is Friday, and so I'm kind of in between the two, leaving one and doing this full time. And I'm feeling like, I'm just being held back by a rope right now,
Mhm.
ready to be unleashed onto the business full time.
That's going to be tough hanging there in the middle.
Yes, yes, but just a few more days, so it's almost over.
All right. When you started Tried and True, what did you have the intentions of doing it full time, or has this now just put you in that position that this is going to be full time for you?
Well, so yes and no. We had intended for it to be full time, just not this soon. We had hoped that we had, a good 5 more years maybe to really build the business and get it to a stronger place, I guess, than it is right now. And, things happened and we'll call them opportunities presented themselves. And I felt like I was really being called to work on the business full time. And if I didn't take the opportunity now, I probably would not have another one for another 8 years.
Okay.
So I decided to take the leap
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
with all the support in the world from Tara.
Yes, yes.
Nice. Oh, that's great. That's really great. How did you come up with the concept for Tried and True?
Well, so a friend of ours actually helped us come up with the title, but we knew that we wanted to have items that were vintage and or antique. We wanted items that were older to save them from being, dumped in the trash heaps and thrown out, to restore them in some cases and bring them back to their original glory. So I was talking to a friend who was like, I really, need to come up with a name. She just started kind of brainstorming some things and came up with it. And she had like, I don't know, 4 or 5 ideas, and I brought them to Tara, and Tara picked Tried and True Just for You. And
Mhm.
that's kind of been it since then.
Yeah, I feel like it really captures what we wanted to do. We saw the concept at, we really liked looking for art and liked looking for different kind of pretty vintage things for our own home. And it just seemed kind of like we had a knack for it.
Mhm.
And it just kind of developed from there. And then we got the name. That's been it.
Yeah.
So the both of you both of you have always liked the antique, the vintage, secondhand shopping, or
Not really. Honestly, had you told me a couple of years ago this is what I'd be doing, I would not have believed you. Tara has always loved going to resale shops and antique stores and vintage stores, and I've always gone along. We were actually on a trip in Kentucky visiting relatives. We went to this antique mall, and it was hot as anything. It was uncomfortable. I was unhappy to say the least. And then we ended up going back there a second time because friends of Tara's uncle had a little booth in there, and we went to an estate sale, which was the first time I'd ever been to an estate sale.
oh, cool.
And I did not like it.
Oh,
I didn't. I was like, I'm going to go wait outside. And I sat outside for, probably half the time we were there. It just wasn't for me. And then I don't know what happened. Tara started buying stuff for the house and recognizing that she had a knack for it. And I saw a business opportunity. This is where we are. And I have come to love it. There are certain pieces that I have absolutely come to love and see the beauty in and really like matching them with another person.
I love all this. I love the antique. I love the vintage. And one of the questions I'm going to put in here is what's the difference between, let them know what the difference is between vintage and antique, because I don't think everybody realizes there is a difference.
Yes, there is a difference. And, a lot of people debate about the difference. The true definition of an antique is something that's 100 years old or older.
Mhm.
And the true definition of something that's vintage is something that is 50 years old or older. Well, yeah, between 50 to 99 and 364 days old. So that really is kind of the definition. Some people use 25 as a marker for vintage. Antique, not too many people debate. It's 100 years. Everyone widely accepts 100 years. Vintage has some play. We typically keep it to 50 years. If it's 50 years or older, we call it vintage. And if it's not, that doesn't mean we won't pick it up and we won't sell it. We're just clear. Like, this is not vintage. This is newer, or, this. There's some really cute things that are 30 years old, 20
Right.
years old, and really work well with the old ironstone or some, old brass pieces or something. So we do like to have a bit of a mix of a little newer with the really old stuff.
I like that. That's really nice. Okay, so the concept you had in place, did you put a business plan together? Did you have that plan before you really dived in?
Yes, we did. We had a business plan. I kind of sketched it together and presented it to Tara, who was a little hesitant. She wasn't really ready to jump in, and I kind of pushed her into it because we still would not have this business today if I let Tara dictate the timeline. So I was like, let's just try it. Like, what do we have to lose?
Right?
The one benefit to this type of business, it's very low startup costs for the most part as compared to other businesses. You buy the inventory and then you decide how you want to grow it from there. And so I think we've been pretty conservative with the things that we've done, and which is why this move is pretty risky for us. It's not, we have not taken big risks when it comes to the business, and this is definitely the biggest risk. But yes, so to answer your question, we had a business plan and we executed it. We have modified it a bit as we went, and as we've learned a lot about everything: business, the antique world, personalities, and how they play into things. And so it's definitely every day, I think we learn something.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely. And so your inventory, you obviously go out and you've been to estate sales and what have you. Do you have people come to you and say, I have such and such, or would you be interested in it?
We do. Not that many, but a fair amount of people say, hey, I have this. Is this something you want? Or what we get most often is, I heard there's a sale happening at this address on Saturday if you're interested in going, or a friend of mine, their parents are selling their house and they're having an estate sale. We get a good amount of that, which is nice. We've had a lot of support from the people we know.
And you have a store.
We have an online store, which we're debating on what to do with that right now. We don't have an actual storefront or a booth. That's something that we had put in our long-term plan. I don't know where that will fit now that this is the full-time thing. It's still a long-term plan, but maybe not quite as long as we had originally thought. Definitely not this year.
Little by little is always the best way, or, one step at a time. All right. So with the online, and you do lives, how did you put that together? Because you have a lot of inventory. Do you do specific items each time you go live?
It depends. Sometimes, yes. When we do lives with other people, sometimes they pick a theme. I don't tend to pick a theme. I'm kind of all over the place and show what I think someone may want to see or something that's new. I also try to get the audience to interact with us and tell us what they want to see so that we can show them, because what's the sense in showing them something they don't want? But we've joined other sellers. We've also joined marathons, and those tend to have themes.
Okay.
We have done both, plenty of both.
And everything's inventoried. Is everything inventory? So when you're doing your lives, or I've been to a couple of the lives I've snuck in. I mean, how do you keep track?
Most things are inventoried. Sometimes we will go outsourcing the day before or the day of for something, not necessarily for something, we're just outsourcing, and we find something, we're like, oh, that would be perfect for this live. And so we literally unbox it or unwrap it and it's on the table. Not a lot of time to research it, not a lot of time to price it. So mostly the people watching are getting a really good deal. That is the time to strike.
Right.
We haven't had a ton of time to research. So I do have a spreadsheet where I keep track of everything. Everything has a number and everything has a price and a title and a description in my spreadsheet. And I have different tabs on it for, current inventory, sold. I have it broken down by month, my spreadsheet. I love my spreadsheet. I will not let Tara in my spreadsheet.
Yes. I'm a spaz. So when I go in there, I wind up,
moving
things totally by accident. So I just prefer to stay out of it.
Do you do any consignment?
No, we have not done that. Not yet anyway.
All right. So you do everything promotional wise through social media. You get a good response?
A fairly good response. It's growing for sure. I'm always looking for new ways to grow our audience, to expand our reach. Some of the things I have in mind for once I'm doing this full time is looking at other avenues, because right now it's mainly Instagram, and Instagram could go away. The whole TikTok scare really opened a lot of people's eyes, and
Right.
so if Instagram were to go away tomorrow, we'd be stuck. So I am going to start expanding a bit, selling on other platforms. I think Instagram will probably be the main platform as long as it's there, as long as there's a space for us to sell. But I'm definitely going to expand outside of that. We recently got t-shirts. So we are like a walking billboard, or we will be once the weather's nice enough to wear t-shirts.
There you go.
Giving all of our kids the t-shirts. We're like, wear these.
You must wear these. That's it. Would you ever consider doing, or have you done like pop-up, taking your inventory?
We did that one time, and I am not opposed to doing it. The one time we did it, it was a lot of work and not a lot of reward. If we were going to do something like that, I think we would have to be a little smarter about it. Maybe do something that's like a 3-day event where you can take things and set them up and leave it. Well, not leave it, but have it set up for something that's a little more bang for our buck, because it was a ton of work.
I can imagine.
Make sure everything was stickered and then loaded up and then unloaded and then reloaded. And the place where we were was full of regulars. A table became available and we happened to luck into it. But
we spent more time answering questions about the person who was typically in that spot.
And you don't have easy product to move. I mean, you have different shapes, sizes, weight, and what have you. So yeah, that would be a lot, but yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. What hurdles did you have to work through in the beginning to, get it in motion?
I think our biggest hurdle initially was finding people to purchase our items because we had no idea what we were doing. We kind of reverse engineered this. We bought some stuff and I was like, I recognized that I needed to do live sales. So I was like, well, how do I do that? I can figure this out. And we found some people that were willing to do live sales with us. And we just kind of jumped in. No clue what we were doing. I mean, I had watched live sales, so I knew like how it flowed and what I needed to say, but
Right.
really not a clue what I was doing. And so it took some time to kind of build up a reputation, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
and to build up an audience. And we're still building the audience and the reputation. I mean, it hasn't even been a year yet since we've done our first live. It wasn't until like April 19th or something when I did my very first live. And so we're still working on the presence, building a presence. And while the community is very open and welcoming, at the same time, it's very difficult to break into, which is very confusing because you have all these people who are very open and welcoming and sure, come join us and be part of this. But then the people who show up for them to make purchases aren't really showing up for us to make purchases. So
That puts you in a position that is hard as much as you hear, come on, we'll help you. And yet, like you said, yeah, that's a hurdle to get through. Has it been a year then for you?
We established the business in February. So that has been a
Oh,
year, but
wow.
we did not start doing live sales until April.
April. Okay.
So that will be a year in April. We were just doing eBay and like flat sales, trying to just kind of post things on Instagram. Hope it worked, and it did not. So we changed that a bit.
You're on Facebook. You do the notifications through Instagram for the live events?
The live events are on Instagram, and because of Meta, everything's tied together.
Okay, so that's
So
how it works.
yeah, so when I do something, and I don't know if every time I post on Instagram, it appears on Facebook as well, or if I use the Meta Planner, then it appears in both. I think
Right.
that's the only time when you see it on both. And I like using the planner because it's a little easier to use, I think, and I can schedule things much easier. So it does appear on both. I don't know if that gets us any more people though.
Cross-referencing it between the two sites. I know I do that too. I use the planner, which, like you said, is great because I can sit down, usually on Monday evenings, and I'll do a week or 2 weeks. I have done a whole month, but that's a lot of work too. And then it'll post on both. But I think you guys working at it the way you're working it and organically growing it. And I think here in Delaware, everybody loves the antiques and vintage and the secondhand items. Do you have a piece in your collection that stands out? Is it a little obscure, a little off, a little different?
I don't know that we have anything that's different, but we have a bit of a unicorn.
How many got?
Yeah, you can get it. So there's something called elephant ear creamers. The handle looks like an elephant ear.
Okay.
They're incredibly hard to find. Like, and you can see
Oh,
the
how
hand.
cute.
They are very cute. This one's really old. You can't see it that well, but there are like cracks.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah. Do they come in different sizes?
Yes. They come in different sizes. This one's an ironstone one and it's all white, they're pretty coveted. And we've only ever found this one in the wild. Yeah,
Oh,
it's pretty small,
it is the size of
super
your
cute.
palm. It is
We've had
cute.
it is. We've had a few other elephant ear style creamers, none all white like this, and none ironstone. So this is definitely our unicorn, and we've only ever shown it one time because we don't want to get rid of it yet. I would like to find another one before we get rid of this one.
I don't blame you. Did you have second thoughts in the beginning when you were launching?
I think we've had second thoughts on a few times. There have been some hard moments where we not I would not say out of frustration, like this isn't going well, we should give up. I think we've had moments where we've said, okay, should we give up because of all these reasons? Is this not the right space for us? And kind of reevaluated our plan and what we wanted to do. And every time we've come back to, no, this is just a hard moment.
Right.
Let's push through and see it to the other side. And now we're just going to keep on pushing through. I do have a drop dead date, if you will, where if the business isn't thriving as much as I would like it to, then I'll have to get another job. Whether or not it'll be full-time or part-time or, what happens with the business remains to be seen. But I am giving myself a time frame.
And you do need to do that. I mean, with any startup, you do have to give yourself some leeway and get through all the ups and downs of the first 2-3 years going through it. Knowing what you know now, is there anything that you would have changed in the beginning putting it together?
I think the only thing I would have changed is maybe done a little more research, maybe talk to a business coach or someone or an Instagram pro to get some tips and tricks on how to succeed in the platform because I was still totally winging it a good amount of the time, learning as I go on the fly. And I think that maybe had I taken that step, things might have been a little easier at some points along the way.
Do you have people that you can reach out to talk about the different pieces that you acquire and ask, about the piece or the business itself as well?
Yes. So we have established a good number of relationships with people in the community where you can take a picture of something and send it and be like, what is this? Or even on a live with people. We've been known to either us or someone we're selling with hold something up and be like, do you know what this is? So we have really created some good connections and friendships. We've seen some drama that we haven't necessarily been caught up in, but we've seen it, from afar, and have been fortunate that we haven't really been caught up in it, but we still have been able to make some really good friendships and connections along the way.
Nice. Did you have anybody in the beginning tell you that you were crazy for starting this up?
I feel like people didn't really look at it as like a legitimate business. It was like, oh, isn't this cute that you spend your weekends going to estate sales and garage sales? And I don't think they really understood that there is really this whole community out there of people who want to buy these items. Just the time it takes to research them and present them. And I feel like we still struggle with that maybe a little bit when people hear that we do it. It's like, oh, that's sweet. But I don't know that they really see it as legitimate the way we see it.
Antiques, the vintage, secondhand here in Delaware. I mean, it is a big commodity here. I think so. One, because I'm always in one. I'm always at it, looking online, or I'm at one, finding all the stores. So, I guess maybe if you're not into it, you might think that way. But yeah, this is a great state to, really look into for the antiques and vintage of what you have. I was reading your blog, and one of the posts discussed how vintage and antique pieces can keep us connected to the past while helping the environment. Tell us about that and what it means to you.
One of the prompts, I guess, to starting this business was, in addition to Tara looking for things for our home, was my mom had passed away. And it had not been a year yet when we were kind of talking about the business. And, my mom really liked nice things. I don't know that and she always felt that things were thrown away too easily and disposed of. And so I don't know that she ever really used the term like, I like antiques or I like vintage, but she felt that people were too quick to throw things away and things weren't made like they used to be. And she really did like nice quality items. I couldn't always afford them, but liked them and bought them when she could. And so part of this was a paying homage to her and her memory, and also kind of doing something productive in her memory, something that she couldn't do, whether she wanted to or not, I don't know. But I feel like she felt stuck a large amount of her life, stuck in a job, stuck having to do certain things because of circumstances. And so I, often wonder what would she have done if she could have?
Mhm.
And I'd like to think that some of what we do kind of honors that
Mhm.
for her. And so, we see all these pieces, and, some pieces have masking tape on the back of them, and they have stories, and they have the names of people who own them. I just sold a plate the other day that someone was given when she got married in 18, so it was 50 years old in 1911, so 1861.
Mhm.
1861, this plate was given to this woman, and it had all the grandmothers' names
Oh my
that the
gosh.
plate had been passed down to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, now someone gave that away,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but we picked it up and we resold it to someone who loves the fact that that sticker's on there and loves the history. And so I feel like holding on, helping people keep those memories alive, even if it's with someone else,
Mhm.
even if it's with someone
Wow.
who didn't know them, kind of helps keep the memories of all the people that we've lost alive
Right.
in different ways. So I would say that's what
Mhm.
it means to me.
Yeah.
I like that. I really like that. Yeah. The pieces, my mom, and that's probably why I like the antiques as well, is that my mom likes antiques and she has antiques that she's collected through the years. But not only that, we also have, she has her mother's pieces, still. And I have pieces of from my grandmother. We have pieces that were my grandmother's in the family. And you're right. They all tell a story and they're part of us. And yes, I've done it too. I've given things away, but I love the fact that you just said that it carries on with somebody else, especially if they know the story. And for me, walking into an antique store, that's exactly what I think. It's like, well, who owned this? Where was it? Where was it? Why is it here? So yeah, so what you do is it's important, and keeping it out of the landfills and everything, also is great for the environment. Absolutely, 100%. What's been the best highlight for the both of you for having tried and true?
I love that we can do this together. This was always intended to kind of be our second act, like once we left our day jobs, but we really love spending time together. And this is a way to do that. I mean, we have been to some crazy houses and some crazy sales, and like we just laugh and we just have so much fun doing it. So it's, if you love what you do, you don't ever work a day in your life. Like we really love doing this. And the fact that we can do it together feels really special. And we feel really, not to sound trite, but feel really blessed that we can do it together.
And we get to explore too areas. I mean, I've lived in Delaware all my life and I've explored areas of the state that I've never seen before. Or even, going into Pennsylvania and Jersey, Maryland, we always make it a point to eat somewhere different, to find a coffee shop and have a cup
Mhm.
of coffee and sit down and, plan out our next move. And we've had some really great coffee. We've had some really bad coffee, but we've had some really great coffee, and have gotten to support local businesses in the area and these little coffee shops or these little cafes. And so I feel like continuing to give back even as we're working
Sure.
and finding things for the business and, enjoying finding new things together.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. That is really nice. And there is so much here in Delaware. Just real quick, my parents retired here 19 years ago. I'm here permanently 3, but I've always traveled back and forth from Connecticut. When I finally came down here permanently, I always like to get out and find new places. But my mom says, you've been to more places in 3 years than I have in 20. But it is nice. It is nice to get out, and I have great conversations with people. And I do the same thing too for my shows. I'll go out and find a different place during the week that I can talk about. And it's just to strike up a conversation with somebody that you wouldn't normally probably strike up a conversation with, like you going out for coffee and finding all your antiques and what have you. So that's really, really nice. What advice would you give somebody starting, or a woman entrepreneur starting their business?
I would say, don't give up. Don't let the noise get in the way and stop you from pursuing dream or your goal, figure out your why and remember your why. If you have to write it down, if you have to put it on the refrigerator, wherever you need to put it, tattoo it on your arm, figure out your why and keep that in focus because people are going to talk. People are going to have opinions of what you're doing. It's right, it's wrong, it's this, it's that. All that really matters is what you're doing and why you're doing it. And as long as you stay true to that, then you will succeed.
And keep looking at that note that you leave for yourself.
Yes, there are going to be hard days, right?
Yeah.
Even the most successful business person has hard days. Every business is a risk, even the most successful ones. For you to continue to grow, you have to keep taking risks. So you are going to need that North Star, if you will, to keep guiding you in the right direction and reminding you why you do what you're doing. That's part of the exciting piece of it too. It's exciting as much as it is anxiety provoking.
Right. And with that North Star, what's next for Tried and True just for you?
That's an interesting question. My goal for the next couple of months is to really focus on the marketing aspect of the business. That's something that we really haven't had an opportunity to work on too much because let's be real, that's what gets pushed to the side when you don't have any time. So I really want to work on the marketing, doing things like taking pictures of our stuff and posting it for no other reason, just to post it so people can see it. When I do a live show, I'm not good at posting a preview ahead of time because I don't have the time.
Right.
Often I'm running. Like there have been days where I've literally run in the house from the gym, slid into the seat and pushed go. Face all red. I looked a mess, but there's filters for that. So but that doesn't leave me much time to post a preview of what's coming. And so I really want to spend a good amount of time focusing on those things. And also looking at how we can expand into different arenas to have various flows of income coming in. So it's not just via Instagram. That could go away, or they could make some drastic changes to Instagram. Who knows what's coming? And that's our short term next.
I like it. And where can everybody find you?
The best place to find us is on Instagram right now at Tried and True Just For You. We do have a website, triedandtruejustforyou.com. It is changing though. One of the things we've definitely learned over time is how our website works or doesn't for us. And right now we have one that's way too robust for what we do. It's just too much. So we need to scale that back. But you can always reach us that way via email. We have an email address. triedandtruejustforyou@gmail.com. Instagram and the email address are probably the best ways.
Do you have people reach out to you and say, I'm looking for this particular item? Have you seen it? Will you look for it? Yeah.
Yes, they do. And, we have friends who will just randomly text us, hey, do you have this? Like you were the people who popped in my mind when I thought I wanted, someone just did it. They wanted a candle snuffer.
Oh.
And I was like, oh yeah, we have a few. I took a picture of the ones we had and 5 minutes later she bought it. So I love those kinds of transactions.
That's great. Awesome. All right. I like that. Tara and Julia, thank you so much for joining me on Women Entrepreneurs Spotlight. I do appreciate you being here. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
so much.
It was a pleasure.
Yes.
Oh, you are welcome.